My girlfriend treated me small, laughed at my struggle, and spoke behind my back. I didn't argue. I executed, grew fast financially, flipped the power dynamic, and made my progress humiliate her louder than any confrontation ever. "You're really wearing that to dinner with my friends?" The way she said it, half laugh, half disgust, made something snap inside me that I didn't even recognize yet. I looked down at my shirt. Clean. Presentable. Nothing wrong with it except the price tag it never had. But to her, it screamed broke. And maybe I was. But that night, standing in her apartment while she adjusted her designer watch, I made a decision that would rewrite everything. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 26. She's 25. We'd been together for 2 years, and somewhere along the way, I'd become her charity case. The dinner was at some upscale Mediterranean place downtown where the menu didn't list prices. Red flag number 1 for my bank account. Her friends were already there when we arrived. The usual crowd. Daniel, who worked in tech and never let you forget it. His girlfriend, who I'm pretty sure didn't have a personality outside of her Instagram aesthetic. And Victoria's college roommate, whose name I always forgot because she never actually spoke to me. "Oh, you made it," Victoria's roommate said, like my attendance was uncertain. Victoria laughed. "Yeah, he had to finish up some work stuff." Work stuff? That's what she called my second job doing Uber Eats deliveries until midnight. I didn't correct her. Daniel immediately launched into some story about his company's latest funding round. Numbers got thrown around. Valuations. Equity percentages. I nodded along, drinking water because the cheapest cocktail cost more than my hourly wage. "So what do you do again?" Daniel asked me, even though we'd met 4 times before. "I work in logistics," I said. The technical truth. I manage shipping schedules at a warehouse. "Oh, cool. Supply chain stuff is huge right now." Victoria touched his arm. "It's not really the same thing." The table got quiet for exactly 2 seconds. Then someone changed the subject, and I became invisible again. This was normal now. Her treating me like a placeholder. A body to fill the boyfriend slot while she waited for something better. I'd felt it building for months. The comments about my clothes. My car. The neighborhood I lived in. The way she'd go silent when her dad asked what I did for a living. How she stopped posting photos of us together but filled her feed with girls' nights and self-care Sundays. I wasn't part of her brand anymore. I was the secret she kept. After dinner, we went back to her place. She kicked off her heels and collapsed on her couch, the one her parents bought her when she graduated. "God, tonight was fun," she said. I sat down next to her. "Was it?" She looked at me. "What?" "You introduced me to Daniel 3 times now, and every time he asks what I do like we've never met. He probably just forgets. You made that comment about my shirt before we even left." Victoria sighed. "I was just trying to help. You know how my friends are. Appearances matter. To them, or to you. Don't start." But I already had. "I'm not stupid, Victoria. I see how you look at me when we're around them. Like you're embarrassed." She didn't deny it. That hurt more than if she'd yelled. "Look," she said slowly. "I just think, maybe you could try a little harder. With your presentation. Your ambitions. I work 60 hours a week." "Doing what, though? Where's it going?" I stared at her. 2 years. 2 entire years I'd been supportive while she bounced between marketing jobs, while her parents funded her lifestyle, while she talked about her dreams like they were guarantees. And now I was the one without ambition. "I think I should go," I said quietly. "Don't be dramatic." But I was already standing. I didn't slam the door. Didn't make a scene. I just left. And on that drive home, in my beat-up Honda with the check engine light that had been on for 3 months, I made a promise to myself. I wasn't going to argue with her. I wasn't going to beg her to see my worth. I was going to become undeniable. The next morning, I started. Not with some dramatic confrontation or breakup speech. I just stopped being available. When she texted asking if I was still mad, I said I was busy. Because I was. I'd been learning about dropshipping and e-commerce for months, watching videos during lunch breaks, reading case studies before bed. I never pulled the trigger because I was afraid. Afraid of failing. Afraid of wasting money I didn't have. But that fear got replaced by something sharper. I set up my first store in 3 days. Picked a niche I'd researched, minimalist phone accessories targeted at professionals. Invested my last $800 into Facebook ads and product samples. Victoria called that weekend. "Are you seriously ignoring me over a stupid fight?" "I'm not ignoring you. I'm just focused on something right now." "Focused on what?" "A business I'm building." She laughed. Actually laughed. "A business?" Babe, you can barely afford your rent. Maybe focus on getting a better job first. I could have explained, could have defended myself. Instead, I said, maybe you're right, and hung up. Let her think I was delusional. Let her think I was wasting time. 2 weeks later, I made my first sale. $39. I stared at the notification like it was a lottery ticket. It wasn't the money, it was the proof. Proof that I could build something from nothing. By week 3, I was doing $200 a day. Week 5, $600. I stopped sleeping. Stopped seeing Victoria except for obligatory dinners where she'd scroll through her phone while I sat across from her. You seem distant, she said once. Just tired. From your little online thing? Yeah, from that. She rolled her eyes. You know most of those fail, right? Like 90%. Probably. But I wasn't in the 90%. Month 2, I quit my warehouse job. Not because I was rich, I wasn't. But because I was making enough to survive, and I needed the time. I didn't tell Victoria immediately. When I finally did, her response was perfect. Wait, you quit? Are you insane? What if your store thing crashes? Then I'll figure it out. This is so irresponsible. God, I can't believe you'd make a decision like that without even talking to me. Why would I need to talk to you about my job? She blinked. Because we're in a relationship? Are we? The question hung there. She looked genuinely confused. What's that supposed to mean? When's the last time you asked how I was doing? Not how work was. How I was. I ask you all the time. You really don't. She stood up. You're being ridiculous. I've been supportive this whole time. I almost laughed. Supportive. She didn't even know I'd been running on 4 hours of sleep for weeks. Didn't know I'd spent nights teaching myself Photoshop, customer service automation, supply chain optimization. Didn't know because she never asked. I think we need space, I said. Space? Are you breaking up with me? I'm saying I need to focus on myself right now. And I don't think you'll understand that. Her face went red. This is because of one comment about your shirt, isn't it? You're that fragile. It's because of 2 years of comments. But sure, let's call it the shirt. I left her apartment that night knowing it was probably over. And honestly, I felt lighter. Month 3, my revenue hit $40,000 for 30 days. I couldn't believe it. I reinvested almost everything. New product lines, better ads, an actual LLC. I moved out of my cramped studio into a 1-bedroom that had actual space and natural light. Nothing crazy, nothing extravagant, but it was mine. Victoria texted sporadically, mostly breadcrumbs. Thinking about you. Miss us. I kept responses short. Then one night, she called. Can we talk? Like actually talk. I met her at a coffee shop near her place. She looked good. She always did. But there was something different in how she looked at me now. Less certain. I've been thinking, she started. Maybe I was too hard on you. About the job stuff. Your goals. Okay. I want what's best for you. For us. What's changed? She hesitated. What do you mean? A month ago, you called my business a little online thing. Now you want what's best for us. What's different? Her jaw tightened. I'm trying to apologize. You haven't apologized. You said you were too hard on me. That's not the same thing. Fine. I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear? Only if you mean it. She looked away. And that told me everything. Did someone tell you? I asked. Tell me what? About the business. How it's doing. Her silence was the answer. Who was it? Daniel. He saw your LinkedIn. You updated it last week. I had. Added founder to my title. Posted about crossing 6 figures in revenue. Not to brag. Just to document. So you're here because now I'm worth your time. That's not fair. Isn't it? Victoria's eyes got wet. You've changed. You're not the same person. You're right. I'm not the person who let you treat him like a backup plan. I never. You did. For months. And I let you because I thought if I just worked hard enough, if I just proved myself, you'd respect me. I always respected you. You laughed when I told you I quit my job to build something. You made fun of my clothes, my car, my apartment. You stopped posting photos of us because I didn't fit your aesthetic. Her face crumbled. I was scared, okay? Scared you'd stay stuck forever and I'd be stuck with you. Finally. The truth. And now? I asked. Now I see you weren't stuck. You were planning. And that changes things for you. She reached across the table. It doesn't have to be like this. We can start over. I pulled my hand back. No, we can't. Please. I know I messed up, but I love you. You love the idea of me now. The version that's successful. But you hated the version that was building toward it. And that version was more real than this one. I stood up. She grabbed my wrist. Don't do this. Don't throw away 2 years. You already did. I walked out. She didn't follow. Month 6. I hit 150,000 in revenue. Hired my first employee, a virtual assistant in the Philippines who handled customer service. Expanded into 3 more niches. Started getting messages from people asking how I did it. I ignored most of them. I wasn't interested in becoming a guru. But one message stopped me cold. It was from Daniel. "Hey man, saw your growth. Super impressive. Would love to pick your brain about e-commerce. Victoria mentioned you guys aren't together anymore. Sorry to hear that. Let me know if you're ever down to grab coffee." I stared at it for a full minute. This guy who couldn't remember my job 4 months ago now wanted my advice. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, I was at a networking event, something I never thought I'd attend. But my business mentor insisted. Said relationships matter in this space. And that's where I saw her. Victoria. She was there with her coworker, clearly trying to make connections. Our eyes met across the room. She looked shocked. Then she smiled. That same smile she used to give me when we first started dating. I nodded. Polite. Distant. And turned back to my conversation. Later, she approached. "Hey, stranger. Hey. Didn't expect to see you here. Networking. Trying to build partnerships. That's great. Really great." Awkward silence. "You look good," she said. "Thanks. I mean it. Success suits you." I could have been petty. Could have said something cutting. Instead, I just said, "I hope you're doing well," and walked away. Because that was the thing she never understood. I didn't do any of this to prove her wrong. I did it to prove myself right. To prove that I was worth more than how she saw me. And once I knew that, really knew it, her opinion didn't matter anymore. Month 9, I crossed $500,000 in total revenue. Moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood I used to think was out of reach. Started dating someone new, a graphic designer I met through work. She asked about my ex once. What happened there? I outgrew who I was when I was with her. And she couldn't handle who I was becoming. That's sad. It was necessary. The business kept growing. I brought on a business partner, someone who understood logistics and supply chain better than I did. We scaled into 7 figures by month 14. I bought my first car that didn't have a check engine light. Nothing flashy, just reliable. I ran into Victoria one more time after that. At a restaurant. She was on a date. So was I? We made eye contact. She looked away first. And I realized something sitting there. I didn't feel angry anymore. Didn't feel vindicated. Just indifferent. She'd become a stranger who once knew me. And maybe that was the real power shift. Not the money. Not the success. But the fact that her validation didn't fuel me anymore. I'd found it in myself. Later that night, my girlfriend asked if I was okay. Yeah, I said. Just thinking about how far I've come. From where? From a place where I needed people to believe in me before I believed in myself. She squeezed my hand. And I realized that was the difference. Victoria loved the destination but resented the journey. This person sitting across from me, she celebrated both. A few months later, I got a message from an unknown number. I heard about everything you've built. I'm proud of you. I know I don't have the right to say that, but I mean it. I'm sorry for how I treated you. You deserve better. V. I read it twice. Thought about responding. Decided against it. Not out of spite, but because some chapters don't need epilogues. Some people teach you lessons by showing you exactly who not to become. Victoria taught me that my worth wasn't up for debate. That I didn't need to shrink myself to fit someone's expectations. That the people who mock your grind don't deserve to celebrate your success. I deleted the message. And moved on. Because the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's becoming so completely yourself that their opinion becomes irrelevant. I didn't argue with her. Didn't fight for her respect. I just quietly built a life that spoke louder than any confrontation ever could. And when she finally noticed, when she finally saw what she'd dismissed, I was already gone. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, in every way that mattered. I was gone, and I was never coming back. A year later, I sold a portion of my business. Not because I needed the money, but because I wanted to diversify. Invested in real estate. Started mentoring young entrepreneurs who reminded me of myself. The ones grinding in silence. The ones people underestimated. I told them the same thing every time. Don't wait for permission to become who you're meant to be. Sometimes they asked about relationships. About balancing ambition with love. I'd think about Victoria. About how she wanted the finished product but couldn't stomach the process. Find someone who loves you in the grind, I'd say. Not just at the finish line. Because that's what I learned. Real support isn't conditional on success. It's showing up when things are messy, uncertain, and hard. Victoria showed up when it was easy. When I fit her narrative. The moment I didn't, she bailed. And honestly, I'm grateful. Because her doubt became my fuel. Her dismissiveness became my motivation. Every time she laughed at my ambitions, I worked harder. Every time she made me feel small, I dreamed bigger. She thought she was keeping me grounded. She was actually setting me free. I saw her one final time. At a mutual friend's wedding. She was there with someone new. A guy in finance, tailored suit, expensive watch. Exactly the type she always wanted. I was there alone. My girlfriend couldn't make it. Victoria approached during cocktail hour. "You clean up nice," she said. "Thanks. I heard you're doing really well." "Like, really well." "I'm doing all right." She laughed nervously. "Don't be modest. Everyone's talking about you." "Are they?" "You know they are." I took a sip of my drink. She looked at me differently now, like she was seeing me for the first time. "Do you ever think about us?" she asked quietly. "Sometimes. Yeah. I think about who I was back then. How much I tolerated. How small I felt." Her face fell. "And I'm grateful," I continued. "Because you showed me exactly what I don't want." "That's cruel." "It's honest." I apologized. I've apologized multiple times. "I know. And I've forgiven you." "Then why?" "Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It just means I'm not carrying anger anymore." She stared at me. "I hope he's good to you," I said, nodding toward her date. "I really do." And I meant it. Because I'd learned something she never could. Happiness isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building a life so full, so genuine, that their opinions become background noise. I walked away from that conversation feeling nothing. No bitterness. No triumph. Just peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you chose yourself when it mattered most. People ask me now what the turning point was. When did things change? And I always think back to that night in her apartment, when she asked if I was really wearing that to dinner. That was the moment. Not because of the comment itself, but because it was the final crack in a foundation that had been crumbling for months. I could have fought for her, could have begged her to see me. Instead, I fought for myself. And that made all the difference. Now I run a multi-million-dollar business. I drive a car I actually like. I live in a space that feels like home. But more than any of that, I respect myself. And that's something no amount of money can buy. It's something I had to earn. By walking away from people who diminished me. By betting on myself when no one else would. By turning pain into purpose. Victoria thought she was better than me. And maybe at one point, by her metrics, she was. Better job. Better connections. Better lifestyle. But she missed the part that mattered. I had hunger. I had vision. And I had the willingness to be underestimated. While she was focused on appearances, I was building foundations. While she was worried about what her friends thought, I was learning skills that would change my life. While she was laughing at my struggles, I was documenting every lesson. And when the results finally came, when the money started flowing, when the opportunities started appearing, when the respect started coming, she wasn't there to see the work that built it. She only saw the outcome, and she wanted back in. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get to mock someone's dreams and then demand a cut of their success. You don't get to make someone feel worthless and then act surprised when they move on. She taught me the most valuable lesson anyone ever could, that I didn't need her belief to succeed. I just needed my own. And once I had that, really, truly had it, nothing could stop me. Not her doubt, not her criticism, not her absence. I became unstoppable the moment I stopped waiting for her approval. So no, I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I didn't try to change her mind. I just executed. Every single day, while she was out living her curated life, I was building something real. And when our paths finally crossed again, when she saw what I'd become, my success didn't humiliate her. Her own judgment did. Because she'd had a front row seat to potential and called it pathetic. She'd watched someone lay the groundwork for greatness and called it a waste of time. And now she had to live with the fact that she chose wrong. Not about me. About what mattered. I don't hate her. I don't wish her harm. I just don't think about her anymore. And that's the real ending. Not some dramatic confrontation. Not some public call-out. Just indifference. The kind that comes from knowing you won by every metric that actually matters. I won my self-respect. I won my freedom. I won my future. And she lost someone who would have built empires with her. That's not my loss. It's hers.